Good evening, my friends. Tonight, I want to have a heart-to-heart with you about something that quietly sits in the corners of our lives, yet can be loud enough to break relationships, derail dreams, and leave a trail of heartache in its wake. I'm talking about the inflated ego, not just in men, but in all of us. But today, let's zero in on how unchecked pride and ego can not only harm the individual, but also those they love. Now, let me start by saying this: an ego is not inherently bad. It's what reminds us to stand tall, take pride in our work, and walk into a room with confidence. But when the ego grows unchecked, when it begins to inflate like a balloon about to burst, it becomes something else entirely, a wall that separates us from truth, humility, and love. An inflated ego can make a man believe he's invincible, untouchable, even unaccountable. It tells him that apologizing is weakness, that asking for help is failure, that emotions are a burden best left unspoken. But let me tell you, this real strength is not found in puffed up pride. Real strength is found in the courage to be vulnerable, to admit when you're wrong, and to show up for yourself and others with humility and grace. You see, the problem with an inflated ego is that it's not solid. It's full of air that's trying to fill a void created by fear, insecurity, or pain. And when someone carries an overblown sense of self, they often end up pushing away the very people who want to love and support them. So how do we destroy the inflated ego without destroying the person behind it? Because let's be clear, our goal isn't to tear anyone down. It's to help them rise in authenticity and truth. First, we start with self-awareness. Gentlemen and everyone listening, ask yourself this: are you leading with your heart, or are you hiding behind your ego? Are you building bridges, or are you building walls? Because the first step to deflating the ego is recognizing when it's taking the wheel. Next, we embrace humility. And no, humility doesn't mean shrinking yourself. It doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less. It means acknowledging that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It means listening more than you speak and learning from the wisdom of others. Finally, we must open ourselves to love, not the kind of love that strokes the ego, but the kind that challenges it. The love that says, I see you, I see your flaws, your fears, your humanity, and I love you anyway. Because true love doesn't thrive in the shadow of an inflated ego. It thrives in the light of honesty, vulnerability, and mutual respect. So tonight I challenge all of us to let go of the need to always be right, to always be in control, to always appear strong. Instead, let's lean into the power of being real, because when we deflate the ego, what's left isn't weakness, it's a man, a woman, a person standing tall in their truth. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. Thank you. Highlight the difference between healthy confidence, which fosters growth, and an inflated ego, which stifles relationships and personal development. An inflated ego often masks insecurity. Addressing this fragility helps dismantle the ego and encourages self-awareness. Emphasize that admitting faults, seeking help, and showing vulnerability are signs of true strength, not weakness. Humility doesn't diminish a person, it elevates them. Show how embracing humility strengthens character and relationships. Teach that active listening, rather than dominating conversations, fosters respect and understanding. True growth comes from admitting mistakes and taking responsibility. Ego blocks this process, humility enables it. Fear often drives an inflated ego. Authenticity, rooted in self-awareness, deflates it and creates space for genuine connections. Emotional intelligence is key to recognizing and managing the ego, allowing for better decision-making and empathy. But focus on being a person of substance, not appearance. Destroying the ego isn't about tearing someone down, it's about liberating their true self. A confident person exudes a sense of calm and assurance, not because they believe they are better than others, but because they understand their value and are secure in their abilities. Confidence doesn't need validation from the outside world, it is internally cultivated and sustained. It allows individuals to approach challenges with a mindset of resilience and curiosity. When someone is confident, they can admit to their weaknesses without shame, seek help when necessary, and celebrate the successes of others without feeling diminished. Confidence fosters collaboration and respect, creating an environment where people feel valued and empowered. In contrast, an inflated ego seeks constant external validation. It thrives on comparisons, often measuring self-worth against others' achievements, status, or opinions. Ego-driven behavior is rooted in a fear of inadequacy, which it tries to mask with bravado or arrogance. A person with an inflated ego may come across as boastful, dismissive, or overly competitive, as they feel the need to assert their superiority in every situation. This constant need to prove oneself can create friction in relationships as the focus shifts from connection and mutual respect to dominance and validation. One of the key distinctions between confidence and ego is how they handle feedback and criticism. A confident individual views constructive feedback as an opportunity to grow. They understand that no one is perfect and that learning from mistakes is an integral part of progress. This openness to improvement not only enhances their personal development, but also earns them the trust and admiration of others. On the other hand, an inflated ego often rejects criticism, perceiving it as a threat rather than an opportunity. This defensiveness can stifle growth as the individual becomes more concerned with preserving their image than addressing areas that need improvement. Another difference lies in how confidence and ego manifest in leadership and teamwork. A confident leader inspires and uplifts those around them, focusing on collective success rather than individual glory. They are willing to delegate, listen to different perspectives, and give credit where it is due. This approach fosters a sense of unity and trust, allowing teams to thrive. Conversely, a leader driven by ego may prioritize their own recognition over the team's accomplishments. They may micromanage, dismiss others' contributions, or take credit for collaborative efforts, ultimately creating a toxic environment that discourages creativity and cooperation. The impact of confidence and ego also extends to how individuals perceive and navigate relationships. Confidence enables people to build meaningful connections based on mutual respect, honesty, and vulnerability. It allows them to communicate openly, set healthy boundaries, and prioritize the well-being of the relationship over their own pride. In contrast, an inflated ego can lead to power struggles, miscommunication, and an inability to empathize with others' perspectives. The need to always be right or in control can strain relationships, leaving little room for compromise or understanding. It is important to recognize that everyone has an ego to some extent, and it serves a purpose in protecting our sense of identity. However, when the ego becomes inflated, it can overshadow our authentic selves, preventing us from forming genuine connections and reaching our full potential. Confidence, on the other hand, aligns with authenticity. It allows us to embrace who we are, flaws and all, without feeling the need to project an exaggerated image of perfection or superiority. The journey from ego to confidence requires introspection and a willingness to confront our insecurities. It involves letting go of the need for constant approval and finding value in our intrinsic qualities rather than external accolades. This transformation is not always easy, as it demands humility and the courage to face our vulnerabilities. However, the rewards are profound, leading to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. The fragility of an inflated ego is a profound paradox. On the surface, it may appear strong, commanding, and unshakable, but beneath this facade lies a delicate structure, easily disrupted by criticism, failure, or rejection. An inflated ego is like a balloon, impressive in size, but vulnerable to the slightest prick. This fragility stems from the fact that it is built not on solid foundations of self-awareness and authenticity, but on a hollow need for validation and superiority. Understanding this vulnerability helps us navigate the complexities of ego-driven behavior, both in ourselves and others. At its core, an inflated ego often develops as a defense mechanism. It serves as a shield to protect the individual from insecurities, fears, or past wounds. By projecting an image of perfection, superiority, or invulnerability, the ego tries to mask the deeper uncertainties lurking within. This self-protective instinct, while understandable, creates a brittle sense of self that cannot withstand challenges to its carefully constructed identity. Instead of fostering resilience, the inflated ego becomes a liability, requiring constant maintenance and reinforcement to avoid collapse. One of the hallmarks of an inflated ego is an over-reliance on external validation. Praise, accolades, and admiration serve as the fuel that keeps it inflated. However, this dependency makes it highly susceptible to external influences. A single criticism or perceived slight can feel like a devastating blow, shaking the individual to their core. In response, the ego often reacts defensively, either by lashing out, denying fault, or retreating into self-pity. These reactions highlight the fragility of an ego that cannot tolerate imperfection or vulnerability. Another aspect of this fragility is the ego's aversion to failure. For someone with an inflated sense of self, failure is not seen as a natural part of growth, but as a threat to their identity. The fear of being exposed as less capable or less extraordinary can lead to avoidance behaviors such as refusing to take risks, blaming others for mistakes, or downplaying challenges. While these strategies may temporarily protect the ego, they ultimately hinder personal development. Growth requires the humility to acknowledge mistakes and the courage to learn from them, qualities that an inflated ego struggles to embrace. Relationships are another area where the fragility of an inflated ego becomes evident. Interactions with others often revolve around maintaining dominance or control, as the ego perceives equality or compromise as a sign of weakness. This need to assert superiority can strain relationships, creating a cycle of conflict and resentment. Friends, family, and colleagues may feel alienated by the individual's inability to admit fault, accept criticism, or show vulnerability. The ego, in its quest to appear strong, paradoxically weakens the bonds that provide genuine support and connection. The fragile nature of an inflated ego also manifests in how it handles success. While confidence allows individuals to celebrate achievements with gratitude and humility, an inflated ego often distorts these moments into opportunities for self-aggrandizement. Success becomes less about the accomplishment itself and more about how it enhances the person's image. However, this reliance on external markers of worth is precarious. When the applause fades or the next challenge arises, the ego's foundation is once again shaken, leaving the individual searching for the next source of validation. The cycle of fragility and defense often leads to an exhausting existence, constantly seeking validation, avoiding vulnerability, and maintaining an idealized image require immense emotional energy. This state of perpetual vigilance can lead to anxiety, burnout, and a sense of emptiness. Despite the outward appearance of confidence and control, the individual may feel increasingly disconnected from their true self and from others. The very mechanism designed to protect them ends up isolating and draining them. Breaking free from the fragility of an inflated ego requires a willingness to confront its underlying insecurities. This process begins with self-awareness, recognizing the fears and wounds that drive ego-driven behavior. It involves shifting the focus from external validation to internal fulfillment, finding value in authenticity rather than appearances. Vulnerability, though initially uncomfortable, becomes a powerful tool for dismantling the ego's defenses and fostering genuine connection. By embracing imperfections and learning to accept criticism with grace, individuals can build a more resilient sense of self, rooted in truth rather than illusion. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness, but in truth, it is one of the greatest markers of strength a person can possess. To be vulnerable is to open oneself to the possibility of hurt, rejection, or failure, but it is also to embrace authenticity, connection, and growth. Vulnerability requires courage, the courage to show up, to be seen as you are, and to face the uncertainty of life without the protective armor of pretense or invulnerability. It is through vulnerability that we find our truest selves and our most meaningful relationships. In a world that often celebrates stoicism and self-reliance, vulnerability can feel counterintuitive. Society frequently equates strength with having no visible cracks, no moments of self-doubt, and no need for others. Yet this perception is an illusion, as it disregards the reality of human imperfection and the value of emotional openness. True strength lies not in denying these realities, but in accepting and working with them. Vulnerability allows us to confront our fears, acknowledge our limitations, and grow from our experiences rather than being held captive by them. One of the most powerful aspects of vulnerability is its ability to foster connection. Relationships thrive on trust, openness, and mutual understanding, qualities that cannot exist without vulnerability. When we share our struggles, fears, and insecurities with others, we invite them into our inner world. This act of openness creates a bridge of empathy and understanding, allowing others to feel closer to us. Conversely, when we hide behind walls of defensiveness or perfectionism, we create distance, making it harder for others to truly know and support us. Vulnerability also challenges the false narratives we often tell ourselves about what it means to be strong. Many people believe that showing emotion or admitting to struggles is a sign of failure or inadequacy. In reality, these moments of openness are among the bravest actions a person can take. It takes courage to admit, I don't have all the answers, or I'm scared of what comes next. These admissions do not diminish our strength, they enhance it by demonstrating self-awareness and a willingness to confront the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. In professional settings, vulnerability is often seen as a liability, yet it can be a powerful leadership tool. Leaders who embrace vulnerability by admitting mistakes, seeking input from others, and acknowledging their own humanity inspire trust and loyalty. This type of leadership fosters an environment where others feel safe to take risks, share ideas, and contribute authentically. By contrast, leaders who hide behind a facade ability may create a culture of fear, where people are afraid to speak up or admit to their own challenges. Vulnerability, when balanced with confidence, demonstrates a leader's strength and commitment to the collective good, rather than personal ego. Vulnerability is also a gateway to personal growth. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open up to learning, change, and new experiences. Growth often comes from stepping outside our comfort zones, and vulnerability is the key to taking those steps. It allows us to face our fears and push through them, knowing that failure is not the end, but a stepping stone to greater understanding and resilience. Without vulnerability, we remain trapped in the safety of what we already know, unable to evolve or reach our full potential. The relationship between vulnerability and resilience is particularly striking. Resilience is not about never falling, it is about getting back up after a fall. Vulnerability is what allows us to acknowledge when we are hurt or struggling, giving us the opportunity to process our emotions, seek support, and find ways to heal. Suppressing vulnerability, on the other hand, can lead to emotional stagnation, as unresolved feelings often resurface in unproductive ways. By embracing vulnerability, we build the emotional agility needed to navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. Importantly, vulnerability is not about oversharing or exposing oneself indiscriminately. It requires discernment and boundaries, knowing when and with whom to share certain aspects of oneself. When practiced thoughtfully, vulnerability becomes a tool for building deeper, more meaningful connections rather than a source of regret or discomfort. It is an intentional act of openness that invites understanding and fosters trust. One of the most liberating aspects of vulnerability is the freedom it offers from perfectionism. The pressure to be perfect is exhausting and ultimately unattainable, leaving many people feeling inadequate or unworthy. Vulnerability allows us to step off this treadmill by acknowledging that imperfection is not a flaw, but a fundamental part of being human. When we embrace our imperfections, we give ourselves permission to be authentic, and this authenticity is what draws others to us and strengthens our self-esteem. In essence, vulnerability is a profound act of courage. It requires us to show up as we are, without guarantees of acceptance or success, and to trust in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. It is through this act of courage that we find our greatest strength, not in hiding our struggles, but in facing them head-on, knowing that they do not define us, but shape us into who we are meant to be. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the ultimate expression of strength, authenticity, and humanity. Humility is often an underestimated quality, yet it holds immense power to transform individuals, relationships, and even entire communities. It is not about thinking less of oneself, but about understanding one's place in the world with clarity and grace. Humility allows us to see beyond our personal perspectives, acknowledge our limitations, and embrace the contributions and experiences of others. Far from being a sign of weakness, humility is a profound strength that fosters growth, deepens connections, and brings out the best in humanity. At its core, humility begins with self-awareness. It is the recognition that no one has all the answers, and that our understanding of the world is limited by our experiences and biases. This awareness opens the door to curiosity and learning, as it encourages us to seek wisdom from others and to remain open to new ideas. A humble person does not feel threatened by the knowledge or expertise of others. Instead, they are eager to listen, learn, and grow. This mindset not only enriches their own life, but also sets an example for those around them, creating an environment where learning and collaboration thrive. Humility also plays a crucial role in relationships. It allows people to communicate with empathy and respect, valuing the perspectives and feelings of others. When someone approaches a conversation with humility, they prioritize understanding over being right. They are willing to admit when they are wrong, to apologize sincerely, and to make amends when necessary. This openness and willingness to take responsibility build trust and strengthen bonds. In contrast, arrogance and defensiveness can create barriers leading to misunderstandings and conflict. Humility, by fostering connection and mutual respect, paves the way for healthier, more meaningful relationships. In leadership, humility is one of the most powerful and transformative traits. A humble leader recognizes that their success is not solely their own, but is built on the efforts and contributions of a team. This perspective shifts the focus from self-promotion to collective growth and success. Humble leaders are not afraid to admit mistakes, seek advice, or acknowledge the strengths of others. They lead with a sense of purpose rather than a need for personal recognition, inspiring loyalty and respect from their team. By valuing input from all levels and creating a culture of inclusivity, humble leaders empower their teams to innovate, take initiative, and reach new heights. Humility also enables individuals to navigate challenges and setbacks with resilience. Instead of being consumed by pride or ego, a humble person can acknowledge their shortcomings and learn from their mistakes. This adaptability allows them to grow stronger in the face of adversity, transforming failures into opportunities for growth. Pride, on the other hand, often prevents individuals from confronting their flaws or accepting help, leaving them stuck in a cycle of denial and stagnation. Humility breaks this cycle by encouraging self-reflection and a willingness to change, which are essential for personal development. The power of humility extends beyond the individual, influencing the broader community. When people approach others with humility, they are more likely to engage in meaningful dialogue, to listen without judgment, and to find common ground. This mindset is especially important in a world often divided by differences in opinion, culture, and belief. Humility reminds us that no single person or group has a monopoly on truth, and that everyone has something valuable to contribute. By fostering an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding, humility can bridge divides and bring people together in ways that arrogance and self-righteousness never can. Another remarkable aspect of humility is its ability to disarm conflict. When someone reacts to criticism or disagreement with humility rather than defensiveness, it changes the dynamic of the interaction. A humble response, one that seeks to understand rather than retaliate, can de-escalate tension and create space for constructive dialogue. This approach not only resolves conflicts more effectively, but also strengthens relationships as it demonstrates a commitment to collaboration and mutual respect. Humility is also a key component of gratitude. A humble person recognizes the interconnectedness of life and appreciates the contributions of others to their own journey. This sense of gratitude enhances their overall well-being as it shifts the focus from what they lack to what they have. Gratitude, in turn, fosters generosity, as humble individuals are more likely to share their resources, time, and energy to uplift others. This cycle of gratitude and giving enriches both the giver and the recipient, creating a ripple effect of positivity. At its essence, listening is about giving others the space to express themselves. It involves more than simply hearing words. It requires genuine attention to the speaker's emotions, intentions, and underlying messages. When someone feels truly heard, they experience a sense of validation and worth, which strengthens the bond between individuals. This sense of being valued cannot be achieved through dominance or talking over others. Dominating conversations often signals that one's perspective is more important than anyone else's, which can alienate others and create an atmosphere of competition rather than cooperation. Listening also fosters mutual understanding. Each person's experiences, thoughts, and feelings are shaped by their unique perspective, which may differ vastly from our own. When we listen with the intent to understand rather than to respond, we open ourselves to new ideas and viewpoints. This openness enriches our own understanding of the world and helps us navigate complex issues with greater empathy and insight. Conversely, when conversations are dominated by one voice, opportunities for learning and growth are lost. The exchange becomes one-sided, stifling creativity and collaboration. A significant barrier to listening is the human tendency to focus on forming responses rather than absorbing what is being said. Many people listen with the intent to reply, waiting for a pause to interject their own thoughts or counter-arguments. This approach shifts the focus away from the speaker and toward oneself, reducing the effectiveness of the exchange. True listening, however, requires setting aside one's own agenda and being fully present in the moment. It is an act of humility, recognizing that the speaker's voice is just as important, if not more so, than one's own. In leadership, the ability to listen rather than dominate is especially critical. A leader who listens actively to their team creates an environment of trust and inclusivity. Employees and team members feel valued when their ideas and concerns are heard, leading to greater engagement and collaboration. This practice not only strengthens relationships but also improves decision-making as leaders gain access to diverse perspectives and insights. On the other hand, leaders who dominate conversations risk alienating their team, stifling innovation, and overlooking valuable input. A listening leader empowers others, fostering a culture where everyone feels their voice matters. Listening is also a cornerstone of conflict resolution. In times of disagreement, the instinct to dominate often arises from a desire to assert control or prove one's point. However, this approach tends to escalate tension and reinforce division. When individuals take the time to truly listen to the other person's perspective, they demonstrate empathy and a willingness to find common ground. This act of listening can diffuse anger, uncover underlying issues, and pave the way for productive dialogue. Dominance, in contrast, shuts down communication and creates barriers that are difficult to overcome. Listening over dominating also has a profound impact on personal growth. When we dominate conversations, we close ourselves off from the possibility of learning from others. The assumption that our perspective is the most important or accurate leaves little room for alternative viewpoints or constructive feedback. Listening, on the other hand, opens the door to new knowledge and experiences. It allows us to challenge our own assumptions, broaden our horizons, and become more adaptable and understanding individuals. Human beings are inherently social creatures, wired for connection and understanding. At the heart of every meaningful interaction is the ability to build relationships that foster trust, empathy, and collaboration. However, in a world often marked by competition, misunderstandings, and the pursuit of individual goals, it is easy to build walls instead of bridges. These walls, whether emotional, social, or ideological, create barriers that prevent genuine connection and hinder personal growth. Building relationships rather than walls is not just a choice, it is a commitment to a more inclusive, compassionate, and fulfilling way of living. Relationships are the foundation of our personal and professional lives. They are built on trust, mutual respect, and the willingness to understand and value others. However, relationships require effort, patience, and vulnerability. Building walls, on the other hand, is often a reaction to fear, past hurts, or the desire to protect oneself. While walls may offer a temporary sense of security, they ultimately isolate us and limit the depth of our interactions. By choosing to build relationships, we embrace the possibility of connection and growth, even at the risk of vulnerability. One of the key aspects of building relationships is active listening. To truly connect with others, we must listen not just to their words, but to the emotions and intentions behind them. Listening demonstrates respect and a genuine interest in understanding someone else's perspective. It creates a space where individuals feel valued and heard, strengthening the bond between them. In contrast, building walls often involves dismissing or ignoring the views of others, shutting down opportunities for dialogue and connection. Relationships thrive on openness and engagement, while walls foster distance and division. Empathy is another cornerstone of building relationships. Empathy allows us to put ourselves in another person's shoes, to see the world through their eyes and understand their feelings. It breaks down the walls of judgment and bias, replacing them with compassion and acceptance. Empathy is particularly powerful in resolving conflicts and bridging divides, as it encourages us to approach disagreements with understanding rather than defensiveness. When we prioritize empathy, we create a foundation for meaningful connections that transcend differences and foster unity. Building relationships also requires vulnerability, the courage to show up as our true selves, imperfections and all. Vulnerability invites authenticity, creating an environment where others feel safe to be themselves as well. This openness strengthens trust and deepens connections, as it allows for genuine understanding and mutual support. Walls, on the other hand, are often built out of a fear of vulnerability. They create a barrier between our true selves and others, preventing us from experiencing the depth and richness of authentic relationships. Choosing vulnerability over walls is a powerful act of courage that opens the door to meaningful connection. In professional settings, the importance of building relationships cannot be overstated. Collaboration, innovation, and teamwork all thrive in an environment where trust and mutual respect are prioritized. Leaders who focus on building relationships create inclusive cultures where individuals feel valued and empowered to contribute their best. This approach fosters loyalty, engagement, and collective success. Conversely, a workplace characterized by walls, whether in the form of hierarchical divides, lack of communication, or a culture of competition stifles creativity and alienates individuals. Building relationships in the workplace is not just good for morale, it is essential for long-term success. On a societal level, the decision to build relationships rather than walls has far-reaching implications. Walls, whether literal, ideological, or metaphorical, are often constructed out of fear and misunderstanding. They divide communities, foster prejudice, and perpetuate inequality. Building relationships, by contrast, requires us to challenge our assumptions, engage with diverse perspectives, and seek common ground. It is an active choice to prioritize connection over division and to recognize the shared humanity that binds us all. Societies that prioritize relationship building are more inclusive, resilient, and capable of addressing complex challenges collaboratively. Building relationships also nurtures personal growth. Interacting with others broadens our horizons, challenges our assumptions, and helps us develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It encourages us to step outside our comfort zones, to learn from others' experiences, and to grow in empathy and wisdom. Walls, on the other hand, keep us confined within our own perspectives, limiting our growth and understanding. By opening ourselves to relationships, we create opportunities for continuous learning and self-improvement. The choice to build relationships rather than walls is also an investment in our well-being. Relationships provide emotional support, a sense of belonging, and opportunities for joy and fulfillment. They remind us that we are not alone, that our struggles and triumphs are shared, and that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Walls, in contrast, contribute to isolation and loneliness, which can have profound negative effects on mental and emotional health. By prioritizing connection, we not only enrich our lives, but also create a ripple effect of positivity that extends to those around us. Accountability is a powerful force in personal and professional growth. It involves taking responsibility for our actions, decisions, and behaviors, and it requires us to reflect honestly on our strengths and weaknesses. Far from being a mere exercise in self-discipline, accountability is a catalyst for transformation. It allows us to track our progress, learn from our mistakes, and make intentional efforts to improve. The path to growth is not always smooth, but with accountability, we have the tools to navigate challenges and push ourselves toward a higher version of who we can be. At its core, accountability demands honesty. It is about confronting ourselves with the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Many people shy away from accountability because it forces them to acknowledge areas where they have fallen short. This discomfort can prompt defensiveness, but true accountability involves accepting our flaws and taking active steps to address them. When we resist the temptation to blame others or external circumstances, we empower ourselves to take charge of our own development. This level of honesty fosters self-awareness, which is the foundation of any meaningful growth. Growth does not happen without discomfort. To grow is to step outside our comfort zones, to challenge our current limitations, and to strive for something greater. Accountability ensures that we stay on course during this process. It pushes us to evaluate our progress, to celebrate small victories, and to recognize areas where we still have room to improve. In moments when we feel discouraged or tempted to give up, accountability provides a mirror through which we can assess how far we have come. It reminds us that growth is not linear and that setbacks are not failures but opportunities for learning. One of the key elements of accountability is having a clear sense of goals and intentions. Without clarity, it is easy to drift and lose sight of the progress we have made. Accountability helps us set concrete objectives, break them down into actionable steps, and track our progress along the way. Whether it's in a professional setting, in our personal relationships, or in our self-development, the ability to define our goals and hold ourselves responsible for achieving them is essential. Accountability transforms abstract aspirations into tangible results by keeping us focused, motivated, and persistent. Feedback is an indispensable part of accountability. When we are accountable for our actions, we are also opening ourselves to feedback from others. This feedback serves as a mirror, reflecting how our actions impact those around us and where we can improve. It is through feedback that we can identify blind spots, challenge assumptions, and refine our approach. Accepting feedback, especially when it is difficult to hear, is a hallmark of maturity and growth. It requires humility to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers and that we can learn from others. Constructive feedback, when taken in the spirit of improvement, accelerates growth and sharpens our skills, helping us to evolve into more effective individuals. Accountability is also intrinsically linked to consistency. Growth is a result of small, consistent actions over time. Without accountability, it is easy to slip into complacency or to lose momentum. Accountability encourages us to stay committed, to continue putting in the effort, even when the initial excitement wanes. It fosters a habit of persistence, ensuring that we keep moving forward, no matter the challenges. In the absence of accountability, it is easy to let distractions or temporary setbacks derail us. By holding ourselves accountable, we create a structure that helps us stay on track, reinforcing the habit of continual improvement. One of the most transformative aspects of accountability is its ability to shift the mindset from a fixed perspective to a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities, intelligence, and talents can be developed through dedication and hard work. When we hold ourselves accountable, we reinforce this mindset by taking responsibility for our actions and focusing on progress, not perfection. This shift in perspective allows us to see failures as opportunities for learning rather than as indications of inadequacy. Accountability, in this sense, becomes a tool for cultivating resilience and a deeper belief in our potential to grow and change. Fear has a powerful grip on the human experience. It can shape the way we think, the choices we make, and how we present ourselves to the world. Fear often stems from the need to protect ourselves from judgment, rejection, or failure. In an attempt to avoid these painful outcomes, many people end up wearing masks, concealing their true selves behind a facade that they believe will keep them safe or accepted. However, this practice of hiding behind a mask or adapting to the expectations of others comes at a cost. The cost is authenticity, the quality that allows us to live in alignment with our true selves. Replacing fear with authenticity requires a conscious effort to shed the layers of pretense and embrace vulnerability. It is a process of returning to who we really are, not who we think we should be. Authenticity, on the other hand, allows us to show up as we are, without the need for pretense or approval. It involves embracing our imperfections, acknowledging our vulnerabilities, and letting go of the constant need for validation. When we replace fear with authenticity, we stop measuring our worth against external standards and begin to appreciate our inherent value. We understand that it is okay to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to be real. Authenticity is not about being perfect. It's about being truthful with ourselves and others, allowing us to navigate life with greater ease and confidence. The process of replacing fear with authenticity also fosters personal growth. Fear often keeps us stuck in our comfort zones, avoiding change or new experiences because we are afraid of the unknown or the potential for failure. When we embrace authenticity, we open ourselves up to growth and transformation. Authenticity challenges us to question old beliefs, embrace new perspectives, and evolve into the person we are meant to be. It requires a willingness to be uncomfortable, to face our fears head-on, and to grow through them. This growth is not just external but internal, as we gain a deeper understanding of who we are, what we value, and how we want to live our lives. Another aspect of authenticity is its power to inspire others. When we are authentic, we model what it means to live truthfully and confidently. Our authenticity invites others to be authentic as well, creating a ripple effect that can transform entire communities. By embracing our true selves, we give others the permission and the courage to do the same. This leads to greater connection and support among individuals as we move beyond superficial interactions and into deeper, more meaningful relationships. Authenticity creates an environment where people feel safe to be vulnerable, share their stories, and express themselves freely. Replacing fear with authenticity is ultimately about reclaiming our power. Fear often holds us back, keeping us in a cycle of self-doubt and limitation. Authenticity, on the other hand, allows us to step into our full potential, embracing our true selves and the life we want to create. It frees us from the constraints of fear, enabling us to live with purpose, confidence, and joy. By choosing authenticity over fear, we can cultivate a life that is deeply fulfilling, true to our values, and aligned with our inner desires. In the process, we inspire others to do the same, creating a world where truth, vulnerability, and connection are celebrated above all else. At its core, emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. The ability to be aware of our emotions as they arise allows us to understand how they impact our thoughts, behavior, and interactions. This self-awareness is crucial in preventing us from being swept away by our emotions, particularly in high-pressure situations. People with high emotional intelligence are often able to pause and reflect before reacting, allowing them to make more thoughtful, considered responses rather than impulsive ones. This skill is particularly useful in avoiding conflicts, making decisions under stress, and maintaining a level of emotional composure that helps foster positive outcomes. Social skills, the final component of emotional intelligence, are essential for building and maintaining healthy relationships. These skills involve the ability to communicate effectively, collaborate with others, and resolve conflicts in a constructive manner. People with strong social skills are able to inspire and influence others positively, build strong teams, and navigate complex social dynamics. In the workplace, for instance, good social skills are key to leadership as they help leaders motivate their teams, resolve conflicts, and maintain morale. In personal relationships, social skills enable individuals to connect meaningfully with others, strengthen their networks, and build supportive communities. Emotional intelligence also plays a significant role in decision-making. Our emotions often inform our decisions, and when we are emotionally intelligent, we are better able to use this information constructively. Instead of allowing emotions to cloud judgment or lead to rash choices, emotionally intelligent individuals can use their emotional awareness to make decisions that align with their values and long-term goals. Emotional intelligence enables us to navigate ambiguity, make balanced choices, and assess situations from multiple perspectives. This is particularly valuable in leadership positions where decisions can have far-reaching consequences for teams, organizations, or even entire communities. In relationships, emotional intelligence fosters a deeper understanding of both our needs and the needs of others. By being emotionally attuned, we are able to express ourselves more clearly and effectively while also being receptive to the feelings and concerns of those around us. This mutual understanding enhances communication, reduces misunderstandings, and creates a more supportive and empathetic environment. In intimate relationships, emotional intelligence enables partners to navigate disagreements with respect and to maintain a healthy, balanced dynamic based on mutual care and understanding. On a societal level, emotional intelligence has the potential to create more compassionate, cooperative communities. When people are equipped with the tools to understand and regulate their emotions, they are better able to collaborate, resolve conflicts, and build connections across differences. This contributes to a sense of shared responsibility and collective well-being, where individuals prioritize the emotional health of themselves and others. Celebrating the human spirit is about recognizing the resilience, creativity, and capacity for growth that exists within each of us. The human spirit is the core of our identity, driving us through life's challenges and helping us find meaning and purpose in the face of adversity. It's a force that fuels our determination to overcome obstacles, adapt to change, and seek connection with others. Throughout history, the human spirit has been the catalyst for extraordinary achievements, movements for justice, and profound acts of kindness, proving that within each person lies an incredible power to inspire and transform. The human spirit is also a wellspring of creativity and innovation. It is this creative force that has led to some of humanity's greatest achievements, from the arts to science, technology, and social progress. Whether through music, painting, literature, or technological advancements, the human spirit finds ways to express itself in ways that leave lasting legacies. These expressions not only reflect the diversity of human experience, but also have the power to unite people across cultural and geographical divides. The arts, in particular, are an avenue through which we celebrate the human spirit, as they offer a way for us to communicate our deepest emotions, ideas, and stories. Creativity driven by the human spirit has the ability to inspire, heal, and bring people together in shared experiences. The human spirit is also about the pursuit of meaning and purpose. Throughout history, people have sought to make sense of their existence, to find a path that aligns with their deepest values and passions. This search for meaning is what drives many to embark on journeys of self-discovery, to seek truth, or to work toward a cause greater than themselves. Whether through spiritual pursuits, humanitarian work, or the drive to create something that will benefit future generations, the human spirit is constantly seeking to contribute to the world in meaningful ways. It is this sense of purpose that can give life depth and significance, even in the face of challenges. In celebrating the human spirit, we also celebrate the potential for growth and transformation. Human beings have an extraordinary ability to change and evolve over time. The human spirit is not static, it is dynamic, always striving for self-improvement and a greater understanding of the world. This drive for personal growth is evident in the many stories of people who, through sheer will and determination, have changed their lives and the lives of others. Whether overcoming personal struggles, achieving success after repeated failures, or making a difference in their communities, individuals demonstrate time and again that the human spirit is capable of remarkable transformation. Growth is not always linear, and the path is often filled with setbacks, but the determination to evolve is a hallmark of the human spirit. In times of social upheaval and injustice, the human spirit has also been a source of collective strength. Movements for equality, freedom, and justice have been fueled by the unwavering belief in the inherent dignity and rights of every human being. From the civil rights movement to the fight for women's rights to the ongoing struggle for climate action, the human spirit is the force that inspires people to stand up and demand change. The courage to speak out, to challenge systems of oppression, and to fight for a better future is rooted in the spirit of justice and equality that exists in the hearts of countless individuals. When people come together to fight for a common cause, they harness the collective power of the human spirit, often overcoming enormous challenges in the pursuit of a more just and compassionate world. The human spirit is also intimately connected to our ability to find joy and gratitude in life. Even in the most difficult of circumstances, there is always room for appreciation and celebration. Whether through small daily moments of joy like spending time with loved ones, enjoying nature, or pursuing a passion, the human spirit finds reasons to celebrate life. It is through joy and gratitude that we tap into the deeper meaning of existence, recognizing the beauty in both the extraordinary and the ordinary aspects of life. The capacity to find joy amidst struggle, to remain hopeful in the face of uncertainty, and to appreciate life's fleeting moments is one of the most profound expressions of the human spirit.